How do you get from this to this? Last week, I met with meat scientist Ben Howard to show us how. So Ben, tell us what you got here.
So in your hands you have a finished bone-in whole ham. Great product, looks great, great color. This one is fully cooked, smoked, ready to eat. And on my tray I have a raw version of that, which is all the muscles, except this is boneless. So this has had the femur and the H-bone removed, and it peels open beautifully. So whenever we have boneless ham, normally it's not all of the ham muscles put together because it would be way larger than what most people would need. So there's three main parts of ham. There's the knuckle, the outside, and the inside. And whenever you're buying a boneless ham, it's a combination of these or a single muscle, depending on the size.
How do we get from here to there in terms of, the deboning process? What was all changed about the ham to make it boneless?
Sure. So at a packing plant, they would normally find a muscle seam between a couple of major muscle groups. On this one, they kind of went between the inside and the outside, and they would cut down through there, and that would reveal the femur and the H-bone, and they would just kind of peel away the muscles from the bone. So you get this big, giant, boneless piece of meat.
Cool. And where's the femur bone line before they
It would lie vertically, but remember it wraps around. So all of these muscles touch the femur. Another way to look at these muscles are as a cross section like what you would find in a ham steak. So this is the femur bone, the inside, and then this is the outside and the knuckle.
And so this is one rear leg of a hog.
Yes.
So how I got it right here, this is the knee.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
How much do you think this animal weighed?
Probably between 260 and 300 pounds.
Okay.
They get pretty big.
Yeah. Why don't we look at those muscles you have here and kind of see how they translate into some of our products? If you want to
Yep.
get a knife and we can start cutting.
Sure.
So now that we've walked through the boneless muscles, and Ben mentioned that there are three that we typically use here in Frick's products. Walk us through, what those items are and kind of give us the side-by-side comparison.
Yeah, so on the cutting board in front of us, we have what we call a petite ham. You can tell it's a smaller ham. If we cut this ham open, right down the middle, you can see that there's no bone in it. It's 100% boneless. So that's what the petite looks like. This is the same muscle, the knuckle group, off of this raw ham, and you can tell it's the exact same thing, same shape. It's just cured, put into a net, and then it goes off to a grocery store.
Okay, so now that we've talked about the petite, let's walk through our boneless family. So here we've got our whole boneless, which is the same as the half and the sliced quarter.
Yeah, so this is kind of the big brother to the petite ham. You can tell it's another whole muscle ham in a net. Again, the net is kind of a sign of high quality. With a pressed and formed ham, you can't put those in a net. And on the hams we sell with the net removed, you can still see the net pattern on there. There's other types of hams that sometimes have a pattern, but they're not really in a net. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but it's a very common feature or a look that people go for when they make hams. So we've got the net removed. If you were going to serve this to your family, you would just slice down the length of the ham across the grain. This is the ham after we've cut it in half. You can tell that you have this large muscle here on the top. That's the outside muscle, and below you have the knuckle. The knuckle is usually a little bit darker. That's just because of the type of muscle fibers that are in those muscle groups. You can see a little bit of fat in there. On the outside of the ham, you can still see that netting pattern. It's a nice round shape. On the bottom, it's flat from where we put it on the racks. If we were going to make this off of our fresh, boneless ham over here, what we would do is we would use the knuckle and then the outside. Our inside and our outside are still connected. We're going to find a natural muscle seam here, and we're just going to cut down through it with our knife a little bit. And that'll give us the outside with the finger still attached. There's that muscle right there, and the knuckle. And so whenever we would put these together in a net after they're cured, you'd have the knuckle on the bottom, the outside on the top, and then you would push it through into a net together.
So that's literally just two muscles laid together and stuffed into an open net.
Yep, the net just holds them together while it's cooking so they don't fall apart. They're stuck.
What is making them stick together? Is that the salt?
Salt helps, but it's really a function of the protein in the muscle. You think of meat proteins as a rope, and we fray the rope, and then the little frayed ends kind of get stuck together. So whenever you're curing meat, you'll notice it gets kind of sticky. It will stick to your hand. So we've just stuck these two groups of muscles together. This is another boneless item that we do. Really good looking item, super simple to carve. That's why it's called the Carver. Great for big family get-togethers, or buy one and eat it all week long. So this is a single muscle. That's a boneless muscle. So there's not a reason to have a net because there's nothing you need to hold together on it. And this is just simply the whole outside muscle group. I've already trimmed off a little bit of meat down there. On the underside, normally we would trim off a little bit of meat down here so it lays flat. On this one, this is the finger muscle, and match that Carver, we would trim this off just like so, and that gives you one really nice, really lean piece of muscle.
So that is the same as this.
Yep,
Just
this is
been
the same.
cooked and smoked.
Yep, cooked and smoked and cured. Exact same.
Okay.
So this is another member of our little boneless ham family. This is the Gourmet ham. These are really, really popular. This is a nice small ham. This one has had the net removed already here at the plant. And the cool thing about a lot of these that we sell is that they're already sliced. So you can just peel off slices for sandwiches or for easy serving. This is a single muscle. There's not any other muscles put in there with it. There's a little bit of nice fat in there for flavor. You can see the rind where the net was on there. It's a really thin slice. Two or three of these makes a great sandwich.
Yeah, and so the rind, really, for those who don't know, that's kind of just like the crust of bread.
Mm-hmm. That's just where all the smoke goes on there and adds all that nice flavor and color. So, moving over to our raw ham, this boneless ham comes from the inside muscle group, which, as you can tell, is a lot bigger right now. The way we would make a gourmet is, number one, you would trim off this gracilis, or what some people call the cap. We would trim it off like so. It's just a little flap of muscle, and that would go into things like sausage or boneless ham. And then we're left with the rest of the inside. So what we do to make a gourmet, which is kind of a long, skinny ham, is we would trim off half of the inside more or less, and you're left with this really nice single muscle. Look how lean that is. It's nice and flat on the bottom. We do put it in a net so you get a nice round shape for sandwich slices. But other than that, it's one solid muscle.
And what do you do with the leftover inside right there?
Yeah, so this we'll grind it up and we'll use it for sausage, or we will use this and put it in a boneless ham product, like a bigger, rounder lunch meat slice. Those would be made of a bunch of these put together and stuffed into a big, long net or casing.